So, Brandon, tell me
Yeah.
about yourself first. I mean, I like to know who I'm talking about. It seems like you're famous out there. So,
No,
I want to know who it is I'm talking to here.
my
Other
buddy always
than,
said it's all about being famous with at least 50 people, right? And that's the
yeah.
goal in our industry. So
Can I
I'll
say
take it.
something about that?
Yeah.
Listen, I am not that guy that wants 1,000 likes or whatever, because you know what? Uh, that's all it is. The
Yeah.
people who really like pay attention to you
It's
are those
vanity.
50 people,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and no, I teach a class on this same topic, but it's like, so I love content on social media. I love creating
Yeah.
content. I've been on, my own journey for years, and this TV show that, that we're both on has opened up,
Yeah.
just amazing doors. And I was so sold the second that I heard the presentation from oh my goodness. What
Craig,
is our CEO's name?
Lori,
Craig. Yeah, Craig Sewing.
Craig, yeah.
So, dude, like, I would just the vision, like the
Mhm.
idea of having positive media, and like, because that's been my whole vision. Like, I love to educate people, like, on the mortgage process, because I'm a loan officer out here in Arizona. I know you're a real
Oh,
estate agent in
that's right.
Virginia, but
That's right.
essentially our goals are aligned, right? Like,
Yeah.
we care about home ownership and helping those
Right.
get into houses. Like, and like you said, like, I didn't get into this, I didn't make videos so that I could go viral or become famous
Yeah.
or
No.
any of that. Like,
Yeah.
but if 20 people saw my video and 10 of them, it made them realize that they could own a home, that's the most
Mhm.
successful video in the world to me. Like, that's what we're after, right? So it's not about impacting, getting, like you said, 10 million views. It's about
Right. Right.
impacting
Right.
the lives, the individual lives
Right.
that we get to, that we get to see every day. So, dude. So yeah. So
So,
anyway, so I'm a loan officer. This is my
yeah.
other company. I have a coaching company called Friendly Neighborhood Loan Officer. So
Gotcha.
that's what I
Gotcha.
do is
Gotcha.
I coach loan officers and real estate agents on how to make good content on social media that attracts your people and your clients. Wrote a book on the topic as well called Make Content, Close Deals.
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
give me your
Awesome.
address. I want to send you a copy of my book too. So it's
You will.
just it's really just the first half of the book is a story of my life failures and everything that I have failed at along the way, trying to find the few things that work.
Well, failing is just another word for succeeding.
I agree. I
In
learned a lot of
in my
ways
book.
to not do things.
Yeah. 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 These are what not to do,
Right? Yeah. Here's how
and then
to
you teach.
here's how to fail, because I know how to do
Right.
that. But
Right.
but I
Right.
am,
Right.
again, I still live this full time. I'm still a loan officer full time. And again, I'm so pumped for this TV show, man. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. So
Okay.
so I'm going to give you your intro. So Antar, the real estate guy based out
Mhm.
of Norfolk,
Norfolk,
Virginia, right?
Virginia. Yep.
Norfolk, Virginia. Looks like you've been in real estate. Got your license in December of 2019, right?
I did. I.
Okay.
The thing about that, and if I can help anybody out there as far as that is concerned, one of the things that I did first before I got my license, well, first I was forced to get a license. I never wanted to get a license. I actually wanted to open up a firm, but I
Oh,
was told I couldn't do that until I was under a brokerage firm first, because I've been doing real estate for 20 some odd years, but as an investor. So I had
right.
all
Yeah, I
these
saw you've been an
properties that just
investor
were
for
vacant.
a long time. So
Right. And so I was like, no, they shut me down. They're like, no, you
yeah.
got to be a realtor before you can open up a firm. And then I took the class and they're like, oh, yeah, you can actually own a firm, but you have to hire a principal broker.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I'm not paying some guy just the money to be a broker for me. It's
Yeah.
my firm. I'm not into that. So I'll go ahead and do the real estate thing,
Yeah.
and then I'll do the firm thing. Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm supposed to do in Virginia. Other states are different probably, but here
Sure.
you have
That's
to
how
have
it works.
you have to be under someone's tutelage for 3 years, and
Gotcha. For
then
the brokerage. Yeah.
do the brokerage thing, which I've taken all the classes and
Yeah.
I have taken the test. I'm just not a broker yet.
Okay.
So
So it was supposed to be initially just a stepping stone as part of your,
yeah,
greater investment journey, right? So,
right.
so, so what made the switch into, helping people with real estate?
Well, that's one of those things that's a byproduct of, I kind of dig this. But then at the
Yeah.
same time, I've always been taught, listen, you're always learning. Don't ever not learn something if you can help it, but it
Yeah.
all has to do with ego. And so in the process of being in an, there's actual rules about being an investor and as well as being a realtor in this state of Virginia. You're like on hyper focused laser of the state
Really?
looking at you
It's very
because
highly regulated in Virginia
yeah, it's highly
specifically.
regulated because they want to make sure that you don't like cross the line. As I know you're an investor, you don't be slick and whatever those
Oh
rules
yeah,
are that people break. I don't know what those are that made them make those rules like that, and I don't care because I'm not that guy, right?
gotcha.
But
Okay,
I
yeah. There's
do
always
know
someone
that
that
there are
ruins it for everyone
rules.
else, right? Like,
Yeah, for whoever else, right? So I don't want to break those rules. I just want to do what I'm supposed to do,
right.
and as a byproduct, I became fascinated by all the stories and people, and I just kind of loved it. I was like, oh my gosh. If you Google me, of course, you'll see all my testimonials. I put as many out there as I possibly can, but at the
Dude, I
same
was gonna say,
time, it's hard for me because that's not my lane. I
yeah.
don't want to do that stuff, but I know that you need to do that stuff as a business owner, as I alluded before in one of our
Yeah.
our
So you
things.
felt a more like as you went through this journey and in meeting people, was there anyone in specific that kind of kicked that off, or was it just the people in general you just connected with, and you're like,
Yeah,
I
just
want to help people do this?
well, the, it's a double-edged sword. Like for instance, you talk about how you want to help people with their mortgages and stuff, and I want to help people buy their houses. All that is true, but in the back of my mind, it's really more of a situation. I want to teach people how to become wealthy in real estate, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I really want to do. And then when I
Right.
get to talking with people, and when they ask me my advice, and they say, "Well, as a first-time buyer, what should I do?" And I can't help it. It's like I'm throwing up by accident. It's like, listen,
Yeah.
I think you should buy your house, but you're 12 years old. I don't think you should own this. I think you should buy a duplex or a triplex as your first property, and then do
Yeah.
this, and then do that, and then do this. You shouldn't own any of these doors. You want to own, many doors, like many people say, I
Yeah.
think, and have somebody else pay for the one that you're living in, So, in fact, that's what I do. I mean, I don't like talking about myself, but I do have properties, and one of the properties I live in is a modest place. I grew up listening to
Yeah.
um gosh, I can't, Warren Buffett. And I
Well, oh
remember
yeah. Yeah.
specifically his house was a little house on the road. And this guy's a
Yeah.
billionaire,
You
right? I'm
you've
like,
seen
that's my
Warren
guy.
Buffett's house?
Yeah. I was like, that's my guy. He lives
No
in a
way.
little shack right there on the side. He
Yeah.
doesn't anymore because he's become too whatever, but he used to,
Right. No,
right?
he always lived
When he was
very
wealthy,
frugal.
right?
Always.
And so I'm like, that's my guy. That's who I want to be. It's kind of like along the lines of, I know I can afford 5 Lamborghinis, but I don't want to buy it. I rather know that I can buy them.
Yeah,
I want to
exactly.
put that money into those properties because money doesn't mean anything to me until I can actually use it.
No, at the end of the day, I truly everything is an investment, right? Whether it's your money, your time, your energy, you're investing in something always. And so
Yeah.
money is one of the most misunderstood tools there is because yeah, like
Yeah.
it's really just a tool designed to be traded, right? Like and real estate is one of the greatest vessels for that. And I can tell you're passionate about it because it's what's worked for you.
Yeah.
Like
Dude,
you said,
half my
you
clients
came
have
up from
become my
just
students.
yeah, you're a regular guy. It's the same reason I teach what I teach. Like, I'm not anything special. Like, I didn't go to school for any of this stuff. Like, I just kind of stumbled upon it along the way by accident. It worked really well for me, made me a lot of money. And I want
Yeah.
to show people that they can do the same thing. Like you said, I know I can do it, but
Yeah.
here's how you do it too. That's how we all win together.
So
I love
back up
that.
for a second. You did go to school. You know what it's called? It's called School of Life. You learn
Exactly.
to do it. That is
Yeah.
school. There's no better school. They're never
100%.
going
I
to teach
agree.
this in school. There's so many things. I would blow up the education system.
Oh, it's
Please
so
don't
bad.
hate
Well,
me for that,
it's
or
because they're
anybody else who listens
still,
to this, but I would
yeah.
totally blow it up. I
It's because
mean,
they're still teaching for a world that doesn't exist anymore. They haven't updated the
yeah,
principles and the teachings for the world we live in now.
right.
Like remember when they taught us like, oh, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket, so you need to learn this. I'm sorry,
Oh
what?
my
Like
gosh. What?
the world is changing and we have to update
Yeah,
our knowledge and what we teach and what we learn as the world
right.
adapts. So dude, I'm
Yeah,
right there with you. I love that.
yeah. You need to learn to be on the right side of the decimal and not the wrong side of the decimal, and you need to learn, how to protect yourself in life financially and physically, and put your categories in order,
Right.
God, family, or whatever your situation is. You just need to know these things before, you move forward. And hopefully someone will care about you enough to teach you whatever path you want to go on.
Yeah.
And with my clients, they're like, man, I really want to know how you did this. And I
Yeah.
said, listen, number one thing is there are a million ways to make money in real estate. I mean,
Oh,
a million. I know
exactly.
best of how I do it because that's how I did it. If you want to ask me about some other stuff, yeah, I may know because I run into it all the time. But am I going to say that's good or bad? I'm not going to say that's good or bad because if it makes money, it makes money. But for me,
Right.
I'm a wealth builder. I'm a transactional guy. I'm a wealth builder. I don't want to flip and all that stuff because in this state, if I take a $300,000 house and I go get the money to flip it, now I got to pay this clown back this money that I used to flip it. And then I got to pay another clown called the U.S. government and then another clown called the city government. And then another, if I have it less than 2 years in this state, I got to pay another fee. I'm like, by the time you do all that, I'm going to have 3 buildings or 3 properties or 3 whatever. And guess what? I still own them.
And you know it because you did it. You've learned it by doing. And it's that simple. You are best designed to serve the person that you used to be because you've done it.
Now, your business is tricky because here's the thing. There are also a reason why there are many different kinds of banks. Because while one bank will say no, this bank will say yes. Their policy is this, but their policy is that, blah, 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 blah. So it's tricky. That's the navigation of what you need to know to make yourself wealthy,
100%. Yeah. No, and these are the things. It's like these are the things that doesn't get taught. You just have to you learn them through the experience, right? And so same thing. I got into mortgage by accident by buying my when I bought my very first house, I was 23 years old, and I still attribute that to one of the best decisions I ever made, right? I didn't really know what I was doing. My dad had told me that I needed to buy property as soon as possible. He's like, as young as you can, as soon as you can qualify to buy a house, just buy a house. Like, that was it. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what next, but I learned as I went along. And again, that first property set me up for so much success that now that's why I like helping first-time homebuyers, because I didn't have somebody like me showing me what to do when I was getting my first loan. Like, luckily it all ended up okay. But I really don't remember I remember what a headache it was. I remember being constantly stressed and wondering if I was even going to qualify. So it's like, I don't want that experience for my clients, right? It's like, you want, just like for I don't know if you have kids, Antar. You got any kids? 7 kids?
Yeah, man, I'm a motivator. I got bills to pay.
Man, see, being a dad is by far one of my most favorite things in the world, bro. Like, because you truly want them to be better than we are, right? And I think if more people took that in life, just with everyone around us, like if we just truly wanted everyone around us to get a little bit better, like how better off we would all be for that. Right. So, and again, we're doing it through what we know, because again, I know real estate, starting to learn about media, getting a little bit better at that. So I'm just learning what works for me, teaching it back to somebody that wants to do the same, right? And I think
I'm going to give you a tip for those people out there that take this how you want, but I'm going to tell you this, and people can maybe, everyone that you sell a home to, for the most part, I'm going to say at least 40 to 50% want to be a real estate investor of some sort, right?
I would agree with that, actually. I think that number is probably higher.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I know, because there's a certain number of houses that I've sold as a realtor I can't get past, because I've sold more than half of the people I sold houses to 4 or 5 houses already.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that weird? It's usually the same few people that just keep coming back to, or a referral line through that you can source through them.
Exactly. Not one time have I paid for a lead in the 5 years I've been doing this. Not one time.
Same here.
One time.
I've never paid for an ad. Like, I'm sure you saw my social. Like, we put videos, like I put videos out all day long, every single day, but none of them are paid. They're all organic, because again, like it's the relationship. Like, you take the social media is really should just be an extension or a broadcast of what you do day to day, in and out, right? Like, you're in the streets, you are a real estate agent. And a lot of times real estate agents get a bad rap because there's a lot of bad ones out there, unfortunately, just like loan officers, just like
that's another show, by the way.
Right?
That's a
Like,
whole nother show.
it's a whole nother show about the
Nother
ones
show.
that don't pick up, the ones that are doing it, like you said, that are doing it to make an extra buck, but they're not in it for the right reasons or whatever, right? So let's talk a little bit about the real estate and the power of a local expert and a good real estate agent, because not all real estate agents are created equal. So what do you think sets you apart and makes you unique compared to all the other real estate agents in Norfolk, Virginia?
I'm going to say I just care about my people, and I focus. I'm hyper focused on what they want, and I listen to what they're saying. And I'm telling you, I'm like a pit bull with a bone. If somebody even remotely hints to me that, I wanted to buy real estate and I wanted to do this, I'm changing the whole deal, right? I'm changing the whole
You're
deal.
going to show them the value, right?
I'm going to listen. I have a whole diagram of like, listen, if you did this or you did that, in 5 years, you'll be on paper worth at least $2-3 million.
Right.
Right.
Well, no, that's
on paper.
That's the fact.
You're not going to have it in a bank, but you'll have it on paper. But eventually, what's on paper is going to be paid for. And so imagine making all that money just on a monthly basis.
So people that own property, their net worth on average is 40 times higher than that of a renter. 40 times.
I mean,
that's not double, not triple, 40. That's a big number.
I mean,
like that's the power of real estate. And like you said, you know that because you've lived it and you're doing it. So have you always been out in the Virginia area? Is that where you're from? Or
oh no, oh my gosh.
Okay.
Listen,
how long have you been out in Virginia?
Well, my wife's military.
Oh, cool. Well, thank her for her service.
Yeah, I thank her. Jeez,
right? Yeah, absolutely.
So she was military, and so we met in another state, of course, and I was doing my real estate stuff, and I was doing merchant seaman stuff, and so I ended up buying stuff with our family, and so that's kind of how I got into it, and the list goes on from there. I'm sorry, what was your original question? My brain went scattered.
Where you're originally from and how long you've been in Virginia?
Oh, okay, so I've probably been here since 2007.
Okay.
Because she retired here.
Oh, cool.
She retired here. And so I never, and that's why I don't have like a homestead, as it were.
Sure.
I live in one of our rentals because I didn't know if I wanted to stay here, because even though here is a nice place to be here in Virginia, they heavily tax you, my friend. I mean, it's really heavily taxed.
High taxes? Property tax specifically,
federal
or
tax,
just
property tax? Oh my gosh. Anything that floats or has wheels, listen to me. The taxes that I supposedly pay is more than most people's income in a year.
Oh, one of those. That's always
one
fun.
Of those.
We got to get you out here in Arizona, brother. We got pretty cheap taxes out here.
Well, maybe I might move to Florida too. I heard they,
Florida's got pretty cheap taxes too. Yeah.
But anyway, nevertheless, taxes are high over here.
Gotcha.
But and again, how I want to say this and don't want to say this is kind of weird. I don't want it to be misleading, because if you ask Antar what he owns, I don't own anything.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. So all the cars and all the property taxes through a company.
Not everybody knows about that concept.
Yeah. It's through a company that I have to pay, or the company pays. I don't pay. The company pays.
Is that Antar, the real estate guy, LLC? Is that why that's on there?
Yeah, like Antar don't receive checks.
That's right.
Right.
Smart man.
Right. And so that's a whole nother world of that. And again, that's a whole nother show. But please understand. Yeah. If you understand what I'm saying, right?
Big time. Absolutely. There are smart ways to make money work. So, and it's actually a topic I touch on in my book. There's certain things that you need to learn about, and there's other areas where you just want to hire a professional. And so like with money specifically, I think you should always, obviously learn about it as much as you can, but also have a professional, and make sure that your money manager or whoever is working with that side of it for retirement or day-to-day or whatever that looks like, make sure they also work with your CPA and have a strong tax strategy, especially if you own multiple businesses. Because yes, there are smart ways to, you're probably still going to have to write a check, but at least it won't have to be to the U.S. government. It will be to one of your
Yeah. In the beginning, it's going to be it's going to be a little, in the beginning, when you're building wealth and property and stuff, there are going to be ways that you're going to have to do it. But after a while, where you become a little bit more wealthy in your stature, then you can go back and reorganize things. I mean, it happens all the time. But it's funny to me when I watch these YouTube things or this TikTok, whatever. What you want to do is you want to LLC trust this, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what are you, a gangster? I mean, are you trying to hide from,
right?
Is that important towards you need to, have 16 layers for one property?
No. Yeah, like, right? Come on, guys. There's smart and then there's paranoids.
Yeah, become, just seriously, man.
Absolutely. No, it's the not learning things and then applying the knowledge is really what it comes down to. It's like, you got to try things, but with business, I think there's just a lot of people that live in fear, because of the taxes, because of whatever. And so they don't try things. Like I don't understand that mentality. And I feel like you're one of those people as well. Cause it's like, I'm already in the same spot if I don't try it. So I have nothing to lose if I try it. But what is it that motivates you, or like, what is your drive behind all that you do?
Legacy. Before it wasn't that way. Like I said, when you become a certain stature, things in your mind changes. And so I'm going to say something to you that's going to freak people out. So I have daughters and I have sons. There is nothing I'm ever going to leave to my daughters, but I will leave it to my sons. Now ask me why.
I was the only one. No, dude, I tell my kids every day, I was like, I hope you enjoy all of this because I am leaving you nothing. I'm spending every last dime.
No, that's not it. I'm not doing that. The legacy is for the family with the last name. But if you have daughters, I'm not leaving that to you. There's ways to do it if you wanted to.
All right, well, then tell me about this. Yeah, I'm interested.
Well, let me ask you something. What's your last name?
Hatch.
What's my last name?
Oh, I don't know. It's
not Wilson. What's Wilson. My daughter's last name? It's Wilson. Right. I'm going to pass stuff on to my daughter. She gets married to Mr. Hatch. Where does my money go?
To the Hatch or to the Wilson.
Right. That's right. Until you go through the system to make that not work. Now, there are many ways to do that. Please, everybody understand. There are many ways to do that, right? But in general, for the empire of Wilson, that's not being left to my daughters.
Okay.
That legacy is going to my sons.
To the sons. Okay.
To the sons. And it's going to be done a certain way to where my daughters can get money. They're not going to be left out.
Sure, right.
But as long as their name can change to someone else's family, listen, I busted my butt to get money for our legacy family. I'm not giving it to the Johnsons.
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, you know what you've done to earn what you've earned. So, because again, there's no shortcuts in life. Like,
and that's another whole show.
That's a whole show, right? Like, it doesn't come free.
I'm just surfacing it, right? But that's what motivates me is legacy and how to plan for that.
Okay.
Right. And so, and that's honestly, how certain people become really, really wealthy besides insurances and all this other stuff. But my point being, they keep it into the family. Right. I mean, you ever notice how some daughters are like, oh, yeah, my name is Julia Rockefeller Johnson.
Yeah.
Or Julia, whatever that last name is. That's
right. Yeah, the hype.
Like Anderson Cooper, he's a prime example. He's a Vanderbilt.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Family money.
Right.
Okay.
So
no, that's cool. Okay. Well, and honestly, that tells us everything we need to know about you as an individual, a real estate agent. Because again, you're not just helping someone with a transaction to buy a property or sell a property. Like, you want to show them the things that will help them build wealth in the short term, the long term, the legacy money, like
how to keep that.
Right. How to keep it and grow it and make your money work for you. Correct. So, dude, and honestly, because definitely not all real estate agents do that. And that is a massive thing that sets you apart from the pack. And dude, and like you said, the most important thing is that you just care. You care about the people you work for, because the acolytes don't come by accident, right? Like, again, we all have them, like, we don't care about them, like but they don't happen on accident. They're there are people out there that are just you're just working, right? Like I always thought about that too. Like they'd get some new quarterly award, or they'd ship me some new trophy or a little crystal ball, you know. It's like, I didn't even care. Like, I don't even half the time know what my volume numbers or transaction numbers, but I can tell you about the Johnson family or the Wilson family, or, you know, the Gonzaleses who just bought their first home, or like, these are people. Like, we need to, like, the industry needs to stop talking about the acolytes and remember the individuals involved. And that's why I was such a huge believer in this show. So I want to shift from the real estate to the TV show now. You know, both of us are hosts for ADTV. How long have you been a host? When did you start?
Oh my gosh, like 4 months, but barely.
Because same with me.
Yeah,
it's like in February.
Yeah, it's a whole nother deal. And so in starting this business as a real estate or as a realtor, you have to understand that it's a business. Yes, you may be attached to a broker, but they're not your employer. They're your partner, right? So anything that you do, that's you. You pay from everything, like I said before, from the paper clips to the desk to the TVs to the monitors. This thing that I'm doing, talking to you, I'm paying for that, not the broker, right? So in the same sense, you have to make sure that all your things that help you and support you in that, you're paying for that. But you have to do it in a way, which, again, that's another whole class on this, that you have to do it like a business.
You do,
right? For example, and I'm not ashamed to say this because I'm good. I have no issues, but I'm going to tell people this: don't be ashamed to be not able to afford something, or you can afford something and then you can't afford it later. It's just how business works, right?
Correct.
It's just how accounting works, right? So my wife said to me, "Listen, I don't know what you're doing. I do whatever you want to do, but do not take any of our household income from other stuff in this household, our stuff, and fund your business in real estate. You want to do this, you do it, and whatever money you make, that's what you're using to fund it." Right? And it's funny because she kind of handles my pursing. So
smart woman, what it sounds like, man.
Right. So one of the things, like, for example, ADT, you know, this ADTV thing, if the money doesn't come in, that doesn't get funded.
Right.
And that's just how it rolls.
Right.
And believe me, if I can't even take a dime from the other purse to pay that purse, well, for one thing, you don't want to do that because you're commingling funds. So if you ever get like whatever, like, hey, he took money from this, so we should have
very complicated.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's very important that you keep those assets and what you're doing for that asset of what you're doing.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So people out there, I remember Craig touching on this. He was really heartbroken when he had somebody come on and talk to him. Well, they talked to him personally. We don't know who that is, but it was someone obviously important of a stature that was like, dude, you know, they're having issues, having problems, and they're, you know, he felt like maybe they were embarrassed about it. Listen to me, man. Don't be embarrassed. You know,
that's how we learn things.
It's how we learn things. That helps more people than you think. And so it's just how you go about it, right?
I agree.
And
I have learned more about business from all the times that I've failed than from all the times that I succeeded. Like, because it shows you your holes. Anytime you try something and it fails massively, you're like, okay, well, that didn't work, and here was the reason why. And so you know not to do that next time. It doesn't mean you quit it. You just try something new. Right.
Or you're just not working hard enough to produce more money to come in, right? You know, checks come in at different times.
That's a gut check. It's like, at the end of the day,
it's a gut check. Like, man, get off your butt, or you can't afford this, you know? But it's a motivator. What motivates you to get up and do stuff?
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's sleep. I like to sleep. Antar doesn't get out of bed until after 10 o'clock. It ain't happening.
Oh, man.
I'm 50-something years old. I've done that 20-year-old stuff where I'm up 4 a.m. Listen, my life is great. I mean...
So let me ask you about the younger generation, like the hustle culture, right? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, I think you should hustle when you can. You know, you need to hustle. I've been fortunate enough to where I have a wife who's retired military. She has great benefits, which means I have great benefits. I've been out to sea for a long time, which means I have great benefits or something. And if, so those things are there on the side, retirements and all that stuff. I cannot make any money in real estate at all, and I'll be fine.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Right. But some people aren't that way. Right. So some people aren't that way, but that could create laziness.
Big time.
I'm not that guy. I'm a type A personality. Even at 50 something years old, I'm like, my brain will not shut off. I hardly sleep. I'm always thinking of stuff. Right. I'm always checking stuff out. I'm always getting disappointed what crazy people are doing on this or crazy people are doing that, or they're saying something wrong, or they're like, man, it's like this. I'll tell you like this. I am an ingredients guy. You come up to me and say, oh yeah, I made that cake. I did this. I did that. You know what my first question is going to be, because I've already done all that stuff. I'm going to say, interesting. Here's my one question to you. How did you do that? Tell me what is the first thing you did to make that happen? And the moment you open your mouth and you say something, I'm going to know you're full of it.
Love it. Right? No, it's true.
And so, you tell me
you have nothing to prove. I love that.
Yeah. And then, it's like, it's just not necessary, man. Just be the guy that does it and teaches it while you're doing it. I be the guy who writes the book, like everyone says. Don't be the guy who reads the book. Stuff. By the time you read that book, stuff's changed.
I agree, man. No, it's I heard something once that really has always stuck with me, and I believe this is, if more people did this, more people would be happy. Like you should always have a mentor or somebody that you're learning from in life, right? Somebody that you aspire to be like you said. Warren Buffett was kind of like, you're like, oh, I want to be like this guy. But then you have to do the things that they did to get where they are. Then in turn, once you've done it or are still doing it, you then teach somebody else who wants to do the same. You should always in life have a mentor and have someone that you're mentoring.
Let's clarify a little bit. Now, Warren Buffett, I like him, but I don't do a lot of things he does. Like, because there's a lot of things he does I'm not a believer in.
All right.
And that's because I grew up a different life than he did. And I'm gonna give you an example.
Let's hear it. The Antar, the real estate version.
Yeah. You invest in the stock market. That's great. Guess what? I don't, because I can't touch it. I don't use lawyers. I can't walk to their office and smack the hell out of them. If they're in some other state, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Yeah. If I can't come up to you, if I can't touch it, I'm not doing business.
It's not real.
Right? It's not real. Because guess what? You have millions of dollars in stocks. Let's say the world ends. I'm a millionaire. I can get it. Really? Where is it? What paper? The paper that just got burnt. So what's your proof that you own it? Right.
That's the thing with stocks, man. They can blink of an eye.
Well, just things like that. I want to buy the gold. I want it in my hand. I'm not. If I can't put the gold in my hand, I don't want it. Right. If I can't put the house in my hand, I don't want it. If I can't walk into your office and talk smack, I don't want you.
I love that, dude. I love that.
Right. It's a physicality thing. I don't want virtual thing.
I agree, man.
That's not what I want.
And I think we all want that. I think the one thing that COVID taught us was that we need to be around each other. Like, we need to be in the office. Like that, the time where with like the whole work from home, like I hated that, man. Like what it did was it showed all the holes right in the system. Like, for me in my business, like I was very dependent upon real estate agent referrals prior to 2020. And so when 2020 hit and none of them were able to kind of do the things that they were able to do, my business tanked right at first. Right. So then I had to find a way to get directly in front of the consumer. So again, it's like, okay, new problem. But how do we solve it? New world. And then again, you just try things. And so for me, what I found was the social media side of it, was making videos that were educating the client on how they could buy a home, and for me, it was mostly first-time home buyers, but then it just started to work, and then I enjoyed it, right? And then you get other people that are like, "How are you doing this?" And then it just turns in, and then you just kind of see where it takes you. Like, I got into this mortgage game kind of on accident, started out in finance, and now here we are as TV show hosts. Like, you just never know where your path is going to take you, so you just got to keep going.
So you asked me about this a couple times, and I apologize if I didn't answer your question. So I'm gonna answer it right now. If I did not, the whole what do I think about the TV thing? I think it's great for the purpose that I can't do that, and nor do I
Yeah.
want to do that. What I
What?
mean by
What?
not want to do that, I
Yeah.
mean I don't want to be the guy that does the editing. I don't want to be the guy that does the photography. Like I don't want to be like selfie like
Right.
stuff. I can't do the camera stuff. I
Yeah.
can't do the editing
You
stuff.
you have a message,
You,
but you don't want to deal with all the bullshit in
yeah,
between to
I
get
have
the
the
message
message.
out there.
Yeah, man.
Love that. I love
I don't want to be that guy. I don't even want to learn it. I
that.
want you to tell me that how that's going to benefit me and me being a
Okay.
visionary or you being a visionary. I understand how
Right.
that's effectively working for me as a business owner,
Love that.
right?
Yeah.
So that's how I see it.
I
And
love
that's
that.
what they're doing for me.
Yeah.
Whether it's I mean, you can't listen to me. I looked into stuff, not really wanting to, but kind of sort of, because I just don't have that kind of time. But just a
Sure.
brief synopsis of trying to find the stuff that these guys are doing for us, it's like way more than what we're paying a month.
I agree,
I
man.
mean, way more. There's
When
no,
Craig
you can't
when Craig told
even,
me how much it cost, like I had a number in my mind for what I figured it
yeah,
was gonna cost, and I was in, like, no matter what. Like during his
yeah,
and when he was done and he told me, I was like, "Craig, you have severely undervalued this business."
yeah.
Like,
Well, keep that down a little bit
right,
because,
right, right. I was
I
like,
have a budget until I
I'm not trying
become,
to screw myself into paying more money, but I'm just letting you know, you have undervalued this thing. Like, I'm
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm down. I don't want to pay you more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And everybody who knows their business or this business, they understand. I'm sure they
Right.
understand that. And if they don't, maybe they shouldn't be doing this because it's
Because for me, like I was already a video guy. Like I've taken
yeah,
the time to learn that. Like I've seen it from day one as a loan officer. I was like, because I'm not afraid to work hard. I was one of those guys that was making 150, 200 cold calls a day to get the sales
yeah,
done. But I had an idea. I was like, why can't I just make one video that says the same thing and then maybe 100 people would see it? I could do that and call 100 people, and then my reach is like quadrupled or whatever. And so that was kind of my initial thought process. And so when the ADTV opportunity came to me, it was like, this is finally a chance to really expand my reach. Like I'm doing a pretty good job.
yes,
Like we're helping, like you said, I'm famous with my small group of people here, and it's doing good. But like this could really help me help more people. And not only that,
yeah,
like from me, but I think I can help other real estate agents, other loan officer professionals help get their message out so they in turn can help more people. Because I believe in the power of home ownership that much. Like, I don't care who you get your loan from at the end of the day. If it's going to make your life better, I can teach you the steps because I only know what's worked for me. Just like what's worked well for you, Antar, is what you teach to your clients. Because again, we love it when, like, I don't know, I get excited when I like to give way more than I like to receive. Like giving things that people don't expect is one of my most favorite things. It brings me so much joy. And so this is, when you have knowledge that can make you money and can make you happy or whatever, that looks like for you, you want to share that with those around you. Because again, if it works for you, you want to do the same thing. It makes everyone happy. It's a
yeah. So
win-win scenario.
Yeah, I'll work backwards a little bit. So what's great about the TV show is it lets you focus on being a better host.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about the editing. You don't have to worry
Right.
about those other things that make you look good,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sitting there like, oh my gosh, where am I going to edit this? What number is that? What's it just I don't even know what's involved, and I don't want to know what's involved. But
Right.
all I know is what this does for you or anybody else. It helps you become a better. You could just focus on being a host and just focus on being better. Like I know I'm not Brad Pitt, and I use that a lot. Maybe I'll pick a different actor, but I know I'm not that guy on TV. I'm not him.
Right.
I got to do something different with knowledge to make people want to make people interested in listening to me, right?
And
so
honestly, that's it.
you,
It's
right?
just documenting who you are. It's just
Yeah.
an extension so more people can do it. Like that's the other problem is too many people do social media and they do it wrong because they're trying to be somebody else. Like I watched your social on that Q and like on the meeting we were in. I'm like, Antar shows up exactly online the way he shows up in person. Like, and that's what people want. They want authenticity, especially in this world of AI that we live in when you don't know what's real, what's fake anymore. Like, there can't be an AI Antar. Like you can't fake this guy. Like no one will ever question you because you are you. And people need more of that. And I think that's just super cool, man. So.
Well, that's a valid point. Just genuality, if that's a word,
Yeah.
for people, because for some unknown reason, I'm not going to get into politics, but the world is walking away from it, and you
Right.
know, the guy who's going to survive, the woman that's going to survive, the person that's going to survive is going to people that stay true to themselves.
I agree. I
Now
agree 100%.
that being said, uh, I guess maybe being true to yourself could be a little misleading if you're a little crazy, but I mean,
I disagree though. I think the more crazy you are, like one of the things that I promote is to embrace your weirdness, right? Like do the weird
Well, that's
thing.
another
Like,
story. That's another story.
you
But when
know,
you're affecting other people's lives, man, you gotta tell them the truth. You gotta say, listen, man,
that's
this
it.
is
As long as it's genuine and it comes from a
yeah,
good place, like
that's right.
I do agree with that. Like, because
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but like I have told clients before, like I've had clients that have just been way too needy, and I know they're gonna suck my time. I have to know. I'm like, look, I'd love to help you, but based on these conversations, I don't think we're going to be a good fit because it doesn't seem that you trust what I say. And there's no hard feelings, but you might be better off with another loan officer. And it's funny because like the second you tell people no, they're like, whoa, hold up. Like, I do want to work with you. Like, I just want to understand. And then it just and then it kind of softens people up and you can,
well,
the
that's
right
the shot
things will move
across the
forward.
bow. That's the reality check. That's
Yeah.
that's part of a tip of the sword of kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You take stuff away from people, they're going to be like, "Whoa, I wasn't expecting it." And here's the other thing: people are scared to do that in your profession, my profession, anybody's profession that are in sales.
Because we're
They're
commission
scared to
only.
walk away. They're like commission breath or whatever you want to call it. But
I mean,
you can't be that guy.
mm-mm.
You just can't be that guy.
No, when you chase money in this industry, you will most always lose it. But if you
You're
chase
gonna
relationships and if you
yeah.
do it for the right reasons for helping people, the money just shows up. Like I don't know how
It's all
else
a
to explain
byproduct.
it. Like
It's a
yeah, it's
byproduct.
so weird.
You do stuff right,
Yeah,
it's a
it is.
byproduct.
Yeah,
Right.
it
It's
just
a
comes back
byproduct.
again if you are rooted in the right reasons behind it. And again,
Mhm.
that's why I like to talk to people when I find those that I can tell have that, because I do think it's rare, which is sad. But again, Antar, you do have that. I want to pivot real quick back to the ADTV thing. So I know you mentioned the biggest reasons that you're doing it is because the power of content is important, and you just have no desire to learn how to edit, to film, to like you don't want to do
Don't
it.
even ask me.
Right, exactly. Just film me and then throw it on the internet, right? So
Well, I mean, I'm going to get it wrong half the time, but just, you know what I mean? Because I'm not that guy. I'm working on getting better at being on TV.
Well,
Right?
so I think I have something that might be able to help with that. If you think of like a producer or a director that was like there with you during the filming, with the cameraman and everything, that told you where to stand, what to say, when to pause, like if someone just to kind of walk you through the whole thing, would that make things easier?
Well, I tell you what's made it easy for me is I've hired or I'll pay on the side a couple people to come with me to tell me truth to power type of thing.
Okay.
And then my videographer is awesome. DeAndre, he's like, dude, I love that. Maybe other people won't love it because to me, you look authentic. You don't look like you're trying to be something else that you're
Right.
not.
You're not trying to be
You're the
polished.
guy.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you're
You're
that
Antar.
guy
You're
that's
you,
telling me
man.
the truth. I like your idiosyncrasies, your pauses, your whatever, because it's real.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. That's what
Right?
makes it real, dude. Like,
Right. And I got to tell you, listen, there are times to use scripts and there are times not to use scripts.
I
Right?
agree.
So when I'm doing this show, I don't use scripts. And that's for my own personal reason because I don't feel like I'm being me. Because half the time when I'm opening my mouth, it's what comes to me from what's happened to me in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's real.
And so I may say something, or I think it takes away my freedom of creativity if I have it on paper.
I agree with that.
Right?
So I do bullet points for that reason. I had it stop. I don't do lines anymore. Like I don't want to have a line to say, but I'll have a topic. Like here's what we're trying to accomplish. And so because then I'm like, oh, and then I'll just go. And then usually something good comes out of it. So
I do have that. I do have that framework. The bullet.
Yeah, the framework.
I do have that.
Keep you on point because you're like me. We'll just go off on tangents unless someone reins us in.
That's right, and that's what my camera guy does. He says, "Dude, you know what your problem is? You got too much in your head."
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Too much stuff.
I have a
narrow
help
it
for them.
down.
This is what helps me, Antar. So
Yeah,
I like word vomit everything all the time, and like I
yeah,
know
yeah.
I've got good concepts, but I'm like I'm not good at articulating it the right way
Sure.
fast enough. So I word vomit everything into Chat GPT and other AI tools, and then I tell it to help me organize my thoughts and give me
Hmm.
4 or 5 powerful sentences. So that way it's
Yeah,
still me, and then I can, kind of adjust it from
yeah,
there. But that's something that's helped me. So if that's something
yeah, yeah,
helpful for
yeah.
you, there you go, buddy. So
I'll definitely keep it in mind, but no.
yeah, I like to give actionable content, so stuff that really works,
Right.
right? Like we can talk about
Yeah.
like one of my biggest pet peeves is when people talk about what they're going to do. Tell me about it
Right.
once you've done it, bro. Like once it's done, then
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
about it. I
yeah.
don't care about what you're gonna do. Let's talk about what's done.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's the part of the whole ingredients thing,
Yeah.
And if you're any kind of a real, well, I shouldn't say that because maybe some people don't like this, but for me, character wise, I never like talking about myself. I'll evade or kind of just to kind of get my point across lightly as possible. There's one video I have out there that my wife and my family absolutely hate because it makes me admit things that they don't want me to admit. They just
Ooh.
It's one of those things to where's let's say you own 15 McDonald's, right? But you have they're all in company different names, right? So if they
Yeah.
try to find out who you are, they won't know who you are until you
Right.
open your mouth,
Right.
right? I made a
Yeah.
slip up like that,
Ooh.
and so I'm never doing it again. But it's
Yeah.
already out there, so I can't take it back. So,
Sure.
but I'm never doing it again.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
Learn
but
from it, right? Live and learn.
character wise, what I'm referring to is pay attention to your people and care about what they want. Only
Yeah.
focus on them and don't ever in your life make it about you. If they
Dude.
ask you a direct question, don't lie to them. Answer the question,
Yeah.
but let them respect your privacy too, right? So,
Of course.
um,
Absolutely.
because if you're teaching them the correct stuff, they'll know that you're teaching them the correct stuff
Right.
because they'll look at what you drew or what you did and be like, dude, there is no way in hell you would know that unless you did that.
Exactly. Well, you can
See what
tell
I'm
when
saying?
people teach things, if it's second nature, it's like it's
Right.
like with anything that you do enough times, like you don't even think about it, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you just do it. And
Yeah.
there are those that talk about doing it and those that actually do it. So,
Listen to me. I want to say something that when I was talking to my videographer DeAndre, we were
yeah.
just gabbing and talking about how things make better. And he said something to me that just resonates with me. And I'm gonna say a couple of swear words, so I apologize. But he said to me, listen, you can talk shit because you do shit.
Yes.
But people talk shit and don't do shit.
Yeah, dude. I dropped that one right there. Like, no, and that's it. Like, it's right. I always
Right?
say it's not cocky if you can back it up.
Right? But when you back it up, you back it up in your teachings.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
When you're trying to convey something to someone with sincerity, they'll know
Mhm.
you're genuine. They'll just
Right.
know. That's why I love children. That's why I love
Oh,
children, right?
agreed.
Because they're dead center. They know if you're a good person or not. I don't care what anybody says. They have some
Well,
sort of weird young sense that
it's
they know
because
if
they're
you're a good
eager to
person.
learn and they're not afraid to try shit. Like, here's the thing, man.
You
Like,
know?
that what we do is hard and we're
Yeah.
willing to teach it to anybody. I know this because I've offered to teach it to so many different people, but hardly anybody takes me up on the offer because they know that it's hard. Some
It's all
people
in the
don't
numbers.
want some people don't want to be bro. And sometimes we have to remember that, especially in the sales business.
Well, I've said this many times. There's a starting line and there's a finish line. Some
Mhm.
people crawl, some people walk, some people fly, some people run, some people whatever, some people skedaddle.
Yep.
What makes you a winner is the fact that you start.
Yes.
What makes you a hero is that you finish the way
Mhm.
that makes you finish.
Yes.
Right?
However that is, whether it's
Yeah.
sprinting, walking, crawling,
Right.
as long as you're still moving. Like again,
Yeah.
the whole tortoise and the hare, right?
Yeah.
Like as long as you
Right.
just keep going. The
Yeah, man.
the
You're
hare
gonna
lost because
win.
they stopped to take a break. The turtle
Yeah.
was slower, but they just kept going.
But they're
I
gonna
love that.
finish. They're gonna finish.
Doesn't
And
matter
that's
when.
No matter
Never,
when,
it's
they're gonna
never too
finish.
late.
Yeah, it's
Dude, this
never
is
too
so
late.
good.
Yeah.
All right, man. We are right at 50 minutes. This went just a touch over what I thought, but we're looking good. I'm gonna just do a couple rapid fire ones here. So real quick, I want to talk about what do you think sets the Hampton Roads real estate market apart from everything else?
You know what, man? When I teach people to buy properties, one of the biggest things I teach them is just because a property looks good doesn't mean you should buy that property. What I mean by that is you need to have 4 different rules. I'm not going to get into them, but the biggest one is always buy a property that has a power that's next to a power center. For example, I have one over here somewhere. At least I was told I have something. I gotta watch myself. I was told. I was told
I know exactly what
that I have a property over here somewhere, and it's near a power center. And a power center is like a Costco, a naval base, a rail yard, somewhere where there's tons of employment. To whereas if you put a sign out in the yard, that you're gonna get 15 phone calls in one day.
Location
Until it's
supply and
gone.
demand, right?
Right.
Basic. Yep.
So it's that sort of thing. I'm sorry. What was your question again?
So just what sets the Hampton Roads real estate market?
Oh yeah,
apart?
yeah, yeah. It's
What makes it
recession.
different?
So that being said, I'm using that as an example because it's like a recession-proof thing. When you do the right things, when you're buying property, it's a recession-proof thing. So in Hampton Roads, you have 5 different military bases, and then all those things that support those military bases, and then constant. I mean, you have NASA over here.
Right.
You have. I mean, all kinds of stuff that I'm
John
not going to mention
Hopkins
online.
is
All
not
people
over
knocking on my door. But you have all kinds of people over here that Hampton Roads is pretty much very well shielded against some sort of, we have more of a problem that we don't have enough housing in the right locations for these people, right?
See, we have that same problem here. It's like we have too many people and not enough homes. Like that's
that's in the right areas. But those other homes will still sell because you have to have a place to live.
Correct. Everybody needs to live somewhere.
And so that's one of the things that's nice about the fair housing thing is that, we're not allowed to say, hey, this is a great area. This is a great area. You should live in this area. If you want a good school, this is where you should be. We can't do that here. We can absolutely not do that. I have to say things like, well, I mean, if you want a good school.
You can't even talk about the schools?
No. I'm not, listen to me. I'm not even coming close to the line, buddy.
Really?
Right? I'm not even coming close to the line. You asked me a question like, well, what's a good school? I'm like, well, you're going to have to do your research on that. I can tell you.
And this is just proof of why it's important to have a local real estate agent who lives and works in the area to help you. Because again, you know things that only a local can know. Like you couldn't have just answered those if you were just, some fly-by-night part-time real estate agent.
Here's the thing. Just because I say things like there's a way that I say it so I don't lose business. It's the words that you use with people is what costs you money.
Big time.
Right? Yeah. So I'm saying this to you, but I'm going to say it differently to them.
Correct. Yeah. Know your audience. Absolutely.
I'm just pointing the point. I'm just bringing the point across to you.
That's a good tip for social media too, by the way. Know your audience on social media.
Yeah. So, there's a way that you have to say it to where you're not offending them or thinking, well, this guy's not going to really help me. He's not.
Correct.
You don't want to be that guy. So know your job. Know what you need to say for them to be like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. Yeah. Once you hear those words, then you're doing the right thing.
That is true.
Right.
All right. I've got one final question for you. It's kind of a 2-part question, and then we'll wrap this thing up. But how do you, Antar, define success, and do you consider yourself successful?
I do consider myself successful because my kids don't know anything. All they know is whatever they want, they get. Right?
Cool. It's cool.
And so,
and I'm guessing that's something that you didn't have for yourself growing up.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
I mean, I do have boundaries, but I'm like Shaq, man. I'm Shaq of Claus, man. I mean, if they want something, my daughters have new cars. Through the company.
Well,
right. But my point is, the success thing is that I take care of my family. That's important to me. And more importantly, I sleep good at night.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I don't do that I can't sleep good at night.
You know, at the end of the day, you've given it your all every day.
Well, not just that, but just, I'm a good citizen. Being a good citizen is important to me.
I agree.
When somebody says to me,
Being a good
well, what are
human.
you, yeah, how are you doing? He's, I'm just trying to keep the love strong,
I love that, man. I love that.
right?
Yeah.
And then what do you, and they say, wait, what's going on? I'm saying, well, I'm just trying to keep everybody happy. It's
Yeah.
never going to happen, but that's what you're going to get from me, whether you like it or not.
Hey, but you know what? Keep believing it, man. I think if more people, and again, and that's why I'm such a believer in this show, and I can tell you were the right type of guy as well. But we got to have more positivity in the world. It's not as negative as people think that it is. I think if the more we all talk to each other, different cultures, different people, we're all a lot more on the same page than we realize.
We really are.
There's a lot of things that can polarize us, but at the end of the day, as human beings, we all just want to do good, put good back out in the world, and be the best versions of ourselves. And most people want that. At least I hope so.
What makes this country great is the creativity from people by not keeping individuals down. You don't curtail their creativity. That's what's made us great. I mean, you take a place like North Korea or Russia, you don't have free thinkers over there. They're forced to think this way. They're forced to do this. We're not forced to do that, which makes us creative.
Exactly.
We're creative, which allows us to be in a free market to do things. Hey, did you think of this? Did you think of that? And you don't have to have anybody saying to you, shut the hell up. It's the free thinkers that make this country great.
Open-mindedness and collaboration, man. And that we're better together. I really believe that too. I'm kind of a loner, and I've always kind of just worked hard, put my head down. But once I started opening things up and creating relationships and finding people, it's like, okay, these are the missing pieces because they're better at this than I am. You said, I don't want to have to be the guy that does the payroll, that runs the that does this, that emails the person, that uploads the document. I don't want to be that guy. So I'm going to hire someone who's awesome at that so that I can focus on what I'm awesome at.
Or figure out a way to have that done for you, like interns, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Or find a way. Right?
That's exactly
Don't try to overthink it.
Yeah. Let a professional do a professional's job.
Yes. Exactly. No, that's good stuff. Well, Antar, dude, I appreciate your time today, man. I'm going to get these all cut up and clipped for you and emailed over to you. So again, thank you. Any final words before we sign off?
Hey, I just hope I helped you and I didn't sound like an idiot.
Dude, are you kidding me? This was amazing. This was so good. So here's something that helped me. This was a quote I heard. You know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
No.
Okay. So yeah, he's another entrepreneur, but one of the things he said, he's a motivational speaker. I heard him speak once live in person. I think he charges like $100,000 for a 30-minute keynote. And he said this when he was in the keynote. He said, the only other reason I'm here besides my speaking fee, which is pretty substantial, is for the content that I'm going to get out of it. So if content for that guy is more valuable than his speaking fee, think about that for us and our businesses. So that was the other. So that's kind of my value add back for you. I want to be able to edit this, put that together, especially knowing that you're not the guy that wants to do that anyway. I'm going to put together this for you, and I'll send you several clips to use on your own social media. And so that hopefully it'll bring, more people can find you and bring you more business who then in touch they will better their lives because of knowing you. So that's what it's all about, man.
I appreciate that. Well, the same for you, of course. I mean, you're the loan officer. Absolutely. And by the way, of course, I'm a real estate agent here in Virginia.
Yeah.
But
oddly enough, I do have a team member licensed in Virginia on my team, so I can do business in Virginia. At least my team.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I am going to be licensed in other states, by the way. I'm working on that right now.
Well, and I'm always looking to, I'm going to add you to my network anyway, because I don't have any real estate agents in Virginia. So usually my clients typically don't have real estate agents. They're usually coming to me first because of our how we do our lead gen with social media. So most of the time I either have to refer them to somebody or a real estate agent. Ideally that's the way I want to do it, because then I have, at least I know who it's not some random person, right? Because if it's a state I'm not, I don't know anyone, then I just have to take a gamble and, get stuck with any random.
You're in Arizona, right?
Yeah, I'm in Arizona. Yeah.
All right. There's a guy there when I was in Holy Loch, Scotland. I got electrocuted there on a different electrical cycle. Grass when I was a kid. Yeah. And I picked up the cord. I had a cut in it, and I got electrocuted. Whoa. And he's a Marine.
Yeah.
He was a corporal at the time, and he came outside and like jump kicked me in the chest, right? And I
Yeah.
let
Just drop the
go.
charge.
And so and pulled the cord at the same time. And so
Yeah.
there's a guy who lives out there that so
Yeah.
whenever I think of Arizona, I think of that guy.
Nice,
So
man.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Arizona, and I'm fluent in Spanish as well. So
Oh, nice.
I know I don't look like I'm fluent in Spanish, but I am.
That's pretty funny. No worries, man. You know, one of the things that you said earlier about the speaking fees and things like that, I wanted to allude to, but there's a secret to being a successful real estate agent, and like I said, paying attention to your clients.
Yes.
If anybody caught what I said is, when my clients gave me the inkling of saying anything to the effect of, yeah, I wanted to do that, and I turned them into an investor, if they catch that, they'll see that through and realize what I just did as a realtor, right?
I'm telling you.
It's kind of one of those things.
Zoom out.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like if I had an acorn in my hand or a pine cone in my hand, and I said, "What do you see?"
Yeah.
What do you see? If I asked you, Mr. Hatch, I showed you a pine cone. What do you see?
Pine cone? Oh man,
Yeah, I put a pine cone in front of you. What do you see?
You know, it's a pine cone. You know, it came from a tree.
I see a forest.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That pine cone created a forest.
That's
just like
true.
that guy in Vegas. It's like all he saw was other people saw was a desert. Thought he was crazy, but now what's there?
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
It just takes one person to get it going, right?
Yeah, man. You know, that's my brain.
I love that so much. No, dude, I love it. So, okay. I think that answers our final question though. So, dude, Antar, I appreciate your time today, bro. I can tell you're busy. You're a good dude. I'm going to get you all this. We're stay connected. So I've got your email. I'm going to go find out what my kids are doing right now. So they're probably just around the house somewhere.
Yeah, me too. Listen, so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, I hope this is beneficial to anybody out there. And
agreed. I think that's both of our goals. So hopefully someone out there can learn something from one of us guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, dude. You have a great rest of the week.
You too, buddy. Thanks.